Hello students, today we will do level 2 of electric charge and electric field. You can download the questions from the description. Let us move to question number 1. 2-point dipoles PK cap. So the two dipoles are given having the dipole moment. One dipole have a dipole moment P cap and other dipole have a dipole moment P by 2K. So we have a two dipoles. They are the point dipoles. Point dipoles matlab the distance between the two charges is very less as compared to the distance of a point where we have to find out the dipole moment. Are located at, so the location of this dipole is 0, 0, 0 meter. It means origin, and the other dipole is at a point 102 meter, that is XZ plane. The resultant electric field due to two dipoles at a point 100 meter. We have to find out the electric field intensity at a point 1001 meter. So the point is along the x-axis. So let us try to draw a diagram for this. Now as we have to deal with x and z axis only, so let us take this as z axis, this as x axis. Now this is our origin. So one dipole whose dipole moment is pk is at the origin. Since it is a point dipole, we draw it by a very small line. So its dipole moment is from negative to positive charge, that is k cap is given, so we assume it is minus q, this is plus q. So the dipole moment is along the x-axis. So this is one dipole which is at the origin. The other dipole is in a 102 point. So let us take this as also the point P is 100 coordinate. So this is our point P. Let this be the 2. So here the dipole moment is again along the z axis. So we draw it by a small distance. So minus q plus q. The dipole moment of this is P by 2 k cap. So you have a two dipoles. Now we have to find out the resultant electric field intensity at this point. So clearly, if we see, also it is given that it is a point dipole. This coordinate is 100. So this distance is 1 meter. And this distance is 2 meter. So we the distance is measured from the center. So this distance is 2 meter. So from the diagram, it is clear that the point P is on the equatorial axis of this dipole. Let us name this dipole as 1 and this dipole as 2. So electric field intensity at point P, which is the equatorial axis of this dipole, and this will be the axial point for this dipole. So point P is on the equatorial line of dipole 1 and it is on the x-axis. Along the axis. Now the dipole moments are in the same direction. We know that the resultant electric field intensity at the equatorial point, if you remember, on the equatorial point, the electric field intensity is opposite to the dipole. So this is the equatorial point. So due to dipole 1, let us name this as E1. And due to this dipole, which is along the axis, the electric field intensity is E2. So resultant can be written as EXL, that is EXL is E2 plus E1, that is an equatorial point. Therefore, E vector is equal to, now E2 is along the axis. So if you remember the formula for a axle, it was 2kp, it is a vector, so p by 2 is a dipole moment divided by the distance square if it is a point dipole, so it becomes 2 cube. For this, it is in the opposite direction, so our formula was minus kp, so this has a dipole moment p only, k cap is the direction, so minus kp upon the distance, that is 1 cube. So this 2 is cancelled. We simply take kp as a common. Within the bracket, we are left with 1 by 8 minus 1, and the direction will be k cap. Therefore, E resultant is equal to kp. So 1 minus 8, it becomes minus 7. So I write here minus 7 k cap upon 8. So this is minus sign. Now, in the options we have the value of k, you have to substitute. So E is equal to minus 7 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, that is 32 pi epsilon naught p vector, where p vector is along the z axis. So this is the resultant electric field intensity if you have two dipoles. So one point P is on the axis of one dipole and point P is on the equatorial axis or equatorial line. Second question. We have a continuous line of charge of length 3d lies along the x-axis extending from x is equal to d to x is equal to 4d. The diagram is also given. So this is your y-axis. We have a rod whose length is 3d, and the value of x-axis or the rod is extending from x is equal to d to x is equal to 4d. So this is d. So rod is extending up to 4d. So this is 4d. The line carries a uniform linear charge density lambda. So density is lambda. Find out the electric field intensity at the origin. You have to find out the intensity at the origin. Now this is an example of linear charge distribution. So this is a linear charge density. You have to find out the intensity at point O. So see the method. First is divide this into a small elements. So let us take this. If you remember the theory, we have divided the entire surface volume or a wire into small element. Let this element is of length dx and it is at a distance x. See, wire is extending from this end to this end. So this is one element we have taken. The length is dx and it is at a distance x from the origin. Now lambda can be written as dq by dx. Therefore dq is equal to lambda dx. This is how we find out lambda is a constant, that is charge per unit length. 1 मीटर में कितने कूलम्स चार्ज हैं. So dq is equal to lambda dx. If our length is say half meter, so we multiply lambda by half meter, so we will get that charge. So it is a small element. Now we have to find out the electric field intensity. So first we will find out the electric field intensity at this element, at origin due to this element. So that will be a small amount of electric field intensity, that is dE. We know the formula, K source upon distance between test and source, that is x square. So this is the electric field intensity at origin due to small line element. So K dq upon x square. Therefore, dE is equal to K lambda dx upon x square. So this is electric field intensity due to small element. We have to find out the electric field intensity due to entire rod. So electric field intensity is equal to integration of dE. Now the limit. So limit should be, if I take this first element, it is at a distance d. And if I take a last element, its distance from the origin will be 4d. So limit becomes d to 4d. This element was assumed to be of length dx at a distance x from the origin. So if I take first element, it will be at d distance, and the last element will be at a distance 4d. So the limits play an important role, otherwise the sum is simple. So k lambda 1 upon x square dx. See, you have to see the option also, it should be in the terms of lambda. Now we do the integration of this 1 upon x square. So 1 upon x square is minus 1 by x. So we know that integration will be equal to minus x is to minus 1 or 1 by x. And now the limit becomes d to 4d. So limit is from d to 4d. So this is equal to minus k lambda 1 upon 4d minus 1 upon d. So if we take d as a common, also in the place of k we have 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. So minus 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught lambda. D is taken as common. So you are left with 1 by 4 minus 1. That is minus 3 by 4. So this minus minus is plus. So electric field intensity is plus 3 by 16 pi epsilon naught lambda d. So we have a option number C, and for this the option was A. So that if we want to find out the direction, this is the magnitude. So you keep a test charge. If it is positively charged, it will move in the direction opposite to the electric field. Now let us see question number 3. We have 4 charges minus q, minus q, minus q, minus q kept at the vertices or the 4 corners of a square, and a charge small q is kept at its center. If the system is in equilibrium, find the value of small q. So it is given that the system is in equilibrium. Say if the system is in equilibrium, find the force on any one of the charge on the vertex. That is, the resultant force on that charge should be 0. Suppose I take this charge. It should be repelled away due to its force. It should be repelled away due to this force. It should be repelled away and it should be attracted. So if the system is in equilibrium, we have kept a small q charge at the center, and we need to find out the value of q. So that minus q charge, capital Q charge, are assumed to be fixed. They are assumed to be source. So if the total if the system is in equilibrium, it is given then you find the total force, resultant force on any one of the source charge to be 0. So here let us take F2. So summation of F2 should be equal to 0. Now F2 vector can be written as F21 plus F23 plus F24 plus F2 naught or center. So we have 4 forces. Let us determine the direction. So this will be the direction of force on 2 due to 3. Repulsion. This is force on 2 due to 1. Let this charge is 2 number is given. Now this distance, we all know this distance should be equal to root 2 d. So this will be the direction of F24, and this minus q will be attracted towards minus q. So F2 naught, that is F20. Now you have to simply apply the superposition principle. We will find out the resultant of 2 forces at a time. So clearly, first we find out the resultant of 2-1 and 2-3, they are perpendicular to each other. So angle between them is 90. And as I said you earlier, first you write all the magnitudes of the forces. So this magnitude will be kq square upon d square, that is equal. Then F24, k minus q, it becomes q square upon root t d square, so 2d square. And F2 naught, that is half of this. This distance is d by root 2. So minus kqq upon d by root 2. So d square minus 2. So this is the magnitude. Now we find out the resultant of this 2, and it will be in the direction of F24. So magnitude F21 plus F23 magnitude. That is, we know that if the magnitude is same, the resultant is root 2 times. Otherwise, you apply the formula under root a square plus b square plus 2ab cos 90. Cos 90 is 0. So we have a square plus b square. A is equal to b. So we get root 2a or b you can write. So directly I am writing the answer, root 2 kq square upon d square. So this is our equation 1, this is equation number 2. Let this equation. Now what is the direction of this? Let us name this force as F dash. So this is the direction. Now clearly F dash and F24 are in the same direction, and F2 naught is in opposite direction. So in the terms of magnitude only, F2 can be written as resultant of this 2, that is root 2 kq square upon d square. F24 same direction, so I am adding that quantity. It is in opposite direction, 2 0. So I am subtracting this minus 2 kq upon d square. So this is, first we find out the resultant of 2 1 and 2 3. Then these two are added and this should be subtracted. Here minus sign is considered for a direction. So you cannot use minus sign 2 times. This resultant is now 0. So 0 is equal to, if we think about this common, it is kq upon d square. So we are left with root 2q plus q by 2 minus 2q. So this is the resultant of all this force. Therefore, 0 is equal to root 2q plus q by 2 minus 2q. Therefore, 2q is equal to, we bring this out this side and I take q as common, so it becomes root 2 plus half. Now 2q is equal to q 2 root 2 plus 1, this is 2. Simply taking the LCM, so q is equal to q by 4 2 root 2 plus 1. So the option is q by 4 1 plus 2 root 2. So option number B. So this is question number 3. Now question number 4, which we have done many times. Now the format of this question is changed. Two identical charged spheres of material density rho suspended from the same point by an inextensible string of equal length makes an angle theta between the string. When suspended in a liquid of density sigma, the angle theta remains the same. So we have two spheres. Such type of sums we have done many times. Both are charged. Let this distance is r. The angle is theta. Now if you remember, if they are charged, we have this as a tension, this as T cos. Let this angle, if you remember, this is angle theta. Let this angle should be theta by 2. So I denote that theta by 2 as theta dash. So this will be T cos theta dash. This becomes theta dash. Now this is mg and this is f. And this component is T sin theta dash. Now it is given that the angle remains same. This angle theta remains same. So this is the theta between the makes an angle theta between the strings. We have to take this as theta dash. So T cos theta dash was equal to mg, fe was equal to T sin theta dash. So if you take this ratio, we have already done this. Tan theta dash is equal to Fv upon mg. This is our equation 1. Now it is given that and the density of the sphere is rho. Now the entire arrangement is suspended in a liquid of density rho. So now this entire arrangement, same arrangement, is suspended in a liquid. Now this is a liquid. Again theta remains same, or we say it is again same thing. But what will happen? If you remember the Archimedes principle, it says whenever any body is immersed fully or partial, it loses its weight, and the loss in the weight is equal to the loss of a liquid displaced. So effective weight will decrease, or the mass of the fluid is displaced. So when this arrangement is kept, the mass of the fluid is displaced. So now instead of mg, we write mg dash. and we will find out the effective weight. Here the effective weight is mg. Other components, let this be theta dash, t cos theta dash. This is now force will change because the medium is changed, so let this force is Fe dash. We have this as t sin theta dash, that is we used to take the half angle, so I can directly write tan theta by 2 also here, because if this angle is 30, this angle should be equal to 15 degree, like that. So instead of that values I have written theta dash, but you have to remember that theta dash is half of the theta. Now effective weight, that will be the different. So here we have written mg as a weight. Now weight effective is equal to original weight minus the weight of the fluid or liquid displaced. So this is equal to mg minus, say, mass of liquid into g, that is the weight of the fluid displaced. So this is equal to, instead of m I write density of the body, that is rho, volume g minus, now mass of the fluid. So if you remember that Archimedes principle and the Wyatt force, the mass of the fluid displaced is equal to the density of the fluid, that is sigma given, and the volume is same as that of a body. So whatever volume of the fluid displaced comes out, it is always equal to the volume of a body. So this is equal to, we take Vg as a common, and here we have rho minus sigma. Now this equation also I can write in the terms of the density, that is rho into volume into g, equation 1. This is the effective weight. So again, if I take a component, tan theta dash is equal to Fe dash upon, now this is m dash g. So this becomes Vg rho minus sigma. So sigma is the density of the fluid given. Now it is given that the angle remains same. So both angles are same. So I will write Fa upon rho Vg is equal to Fe dash upon Vg rho minus sigma. So Vg get cancelled. Now we know when a charged body medium changes, the force becomes 1 upon k times. So Fe upon rho is equal to, now the electric force will become 1 upon k time. So it becomes Fe by capital K, and here we have rho minus sigma. We have to find out the dielectric constant. So again this get cancelled. So capital K is equal to rho upon rho minus sigma. So if in the exams where values are given, and if you remember this formula, simply substitute the values. Otherwise you solve this. So the formula according to this option, it should be rho minus sigma. This is option number D given to us. Now before we move on to question number 5, let us see a small theory. We have studied that suppose we have a two charge Q1, Q2 and the medium is vacuum. So we directly write F naught is equal to Coulomb's constant K Q1 Q2 upon R square. Now if these two charge are placed in a medium of dielectric constant capital K, so we know that the force becomes 1 upon K times. So force in medium is equal to F naught by K. So this can be written as K Q1 Q2 upon capital K R square. This is we have already studied in a Coulomb's law. So I can also write this as Coulomb's constant K Q1 Q2 under root K R whole square. So this equation can be written like this. Now suppose we have different mediums of different dielectric constant. Suppose this much portion has a dielectric constant capital K1. Then this is some different mediums having dielectric constant K2, and this is another medium having dielectric constant Q3. Then I have to write down the resultant force of this. So I can write directly F is equal to K Q1 Q2 upon summation sign under root Ki R whole square, where I is running from 1 to n or whatever the mediums are given. So directly you substitute this value K1 R square, K2 R square like this. Different mediums are given. Now let us come to question number 5. The 2 point charges are placed at a distance R in air, exert a force F on each other. So this is given. Then the distance R dash at which this charge will exert the same force in the medium of dielectric constant K is. Now in the medium also the force is same, but distance is different and the medium is changed. So I will write F dash is equal to K Q1 Q2 upon capital K and distance is R dash square. It is given that F is equal to F dash. So I substitute this value K Q1 Q2 upon R square is equal to K Q1 Q2 upon capital K R dash square. So these things are cancelled. So I have to find out R dash. So R dash square is equal to R square upon K. This implies R dash is equal to R by root K. So the option is C. So if we have a different medium, you keep this in mind. This MCQ was very simple. Now MCQ number 6. It is almost like our MCQ number 2. A very long uniformly charged thin rod is oriented along a x-axis. So we have a thin rod oriented along an x-axis with its one end at the origin. So one end is at the origin and it extends along the x-axis. It means the wire is infinitely long. It has a linear charge density lambda. The electric field vector at x is equal to minus a on the x-axis is. So point P is given. We have to find out the electric field intensity, which is at a distance x is equal to minus a. So here the difference is this wire is infinitely long and we have to find out the electric field intensity at this point, which is at a distance a. Minus sign indicate direction. So if I keep a test charge here, if it has a linear charge density lambda, the electric field intensity will be along the negative x-axis. So that is a direction. Now same rule applicable. First I divide this wire into a small line element. Let the length of this is dx and the distance is x. So lambda can be written as, or as previously we have written, dq is equal to lambda dx. Now the electric field intensity at point P can be written as K source, that is dq. I am directly writing lambda dx upon x square. Same sum, only you have to determine the limit. Now electric field intensity is equal to integration K lambda dx. So K lambda is constant. Let us take out K lambda outside. Integration dx upon x square. Now limit. So this is at a distance a from the origin. It is given that from the origin the distance is a. So the first element will be at a distance a. And the last element, the wire is infinitely long, so limit becomes infinite. So now directly E is equal to minus K lambda 1 by x, that is integration of x square a, and limit becomes infinite. So E is equal to minus K lambda 1 upon infinite minus 1 upon a. So E is equal to K lambda upon a, and if I consider a direction, because the answer is given in vector form, so clearly it is along a negative x-axis. So I write K lambda upon a minus I cap, which is a direction. So we have a option A as the answer. Now question 7 to 10, we have one paragraph. Now before we move on to that 4 questions, let us try to revise the theory of electric dipole in an uniform electric field. So if you remember, the electric field intensity is taken along the x-axis and the dipole was placed making an angle theta. Here we have a minus sign plus q charge. This is QE force and this is minus QE force. We know the characteristic of a dipole. Whenever we place a dipole in uniform electric field, it rotates and aligned in the direction of the field. So it rotates till angle theta becomes 0. Now the question is, when this dipole is aligned in the direction of the field, and if I rotate it by a small angle and leave it freely, so the dipole was aligned, I rotate it by a small angle and let it be free, so it will not come and stop at this point. It will perform a simple harmonic motion. Now we don't know whether it will perform simple harmonic motion or not. You have to prove that thing. So you have to remember, when the dipole is in the direction of the field, it is aligned, and now you rotate it by a small angle. So if you remember, in our chapter 2 also, we have a potential energy of a dipole minus PE cos theta 2 minus cos theta 1. So that we have done in chapter 2. You have to do the work to rotate it in an external electric field. But after rotating by a small angle, we are assuming theta is very small, and if it is left free, it will not come and stop at this point. First it will rotate about its mean position and then it will come to at rest. So we have to prove that it will perform a simple harmonic motion. Now because it is rotating, So we will say it will perform angular simple harmonic motion. Now let us see, we know the magnitude of the torque acting is Pe sin theta. This we know, the magnitude of the torque is Pe sin theta. Now suppose I displace it by an angle theta. So when dipole is displaced by small angle theta, so what will happen? When you are displacing it, you are doing the work in this direction against the field, and the field is trying to rotate it so that it gets aligned in the direction of the field. So restoring torque, like we have a restoring force, we have a restoring torque. So if I try to compress a spring, the restoring force is opposite to me. If I try to extend the spring or stretch it, the restoring force is opposite to me. So if I am trying to rotate it, the restoring force is in opposite direction. So it can be written as minus Pe theta, where theta is very small, so sin theta is approximately taken as theta. Now for a angular motion or angular displacement theta, tau is written as I alpha, where I is the moment of inertia. So I alpha can be written as minus Pe theta. Here I is equal to moment of inertia of the rod and alpha is equal to angular acceleration. Therefore, alpha can be written as, let us name this as equation number 2. Alpha is equal to minus Pe upon I theta. That is, angular acceleration is equal to, now Pe and I are constant. This implies alpha is equal to minus theta. It is like, if you remember the definition of simple harmonic motion, the force or acceleration is directed towards the center. So if you try to displace a body from its mean position, its acceleration or its restoring force is towards the center, that is towards the mean position, which is opposite to our displacement. So here angular acceleration is proportional to minus theta. Hence, dipole perform angular SHM, or you say simple harmonic motion. Now if it perform a simple harmonic motion, it should have frequency, periodic time and angular frequency. So this we have proved that it will perform angular SHM. Now again we come to equation 2. From equation 2 I can write alpha as double derivative of angular displacement, that is acceleration is double derivative of displacement. So here it is an angular displacement. So alpha is written like this, equal to minus Pe theta upon I, which is taken on this side. So it becomes Pe upon I theta is equal to 0. So this is also the equation of, this is the differential equation of SHM or angular SHM. So from this equation also, instead of writing this, I can also say from this equation that this is an equation of angular SHM. That is, if you remember the angular simple harmonic motion, it was this equation. Now the equation is similar. So again from this equation, it will perform SHM. Now if I compare this equation, comparing equation 3 with 4. So comparing equation 3 with 4, I can find out the omega, which is an angular frequency. So omega can be written as or omega naught can be written as under root PE upon I. So this is angular frequency. Now if I want to find out the periodic time, so omega is 2 pi by T, that is equal to under root PE upon I. So T can be written as 2 pi under root I upon PE. So this is the periodic time for a simple harmonic motion. Similarly, if I want to find out the frequency, I can find out the frequency F naught is equal to, that is 2 pi F or reciprocal of this, so 1 upon 2 pi under root PE upon E. So these are the different formula. So it is proved that whenever a dipole is placed in a uniform electric field and it is aligned in the direction of field, now you do the work and rotate it by a small angle and now let it be free, then it will perform simple harmonic motion, and these are the different physical quantities. Here I is a moment of inertia. Now if we have to find out the value of I, that is a moment of inertia of a rod about its center. So in MCQ 7 to 10, we have to find the different physical quantities. Now, moment of inertia. If you remember, if we have a rod having mass on both the end, and this is a distance d, this is the axis of rotation, then we applied the perpendicular theorems. So we were having the two theorems, parallel axis theorem and the perpendicular axis theorem. So if you remember the perpendicular axis theorem, I was written as mass into the perpendicular distance between the two rods. So it was the perpendicular distance between the two rods. So I was written as md square plus md square. This md square plus md square. So it comes out to be 2 md square in this case. Now let us discuss about our MCQ. Then we will substitute these values also. In our question, it is given that the rod is of length L. So here the question is given in the terms of a rod. This is a rod of length L. And here the mass is m, charge is plus q, mass is m and charge is minus q. So here it is given that the two particles of same mass is attached to two ends of a rod. The two particles also carry plus q and minus q charge, and the arrangement is held in a region of uniform electric field such that rod makes an angle theta with the field direction as shown in the figure. So it is given that it makes an angle theta. Find the magnitude of torque acting on the rod. You have to find out first in the 7th question the magnitude of a torque only. So torque, you remember, this torque is given as the magnitude of either force and the perpendicular distance between the two rods. So torque, it form a couple. So torque is equal to magnitude of either force into perpendicular distance between two line of action of force, between two line of action of force. This was a formula in 11. So if we have an arrangement of a couple, then torque is defined like this. Now let us see the perpendicular distance. So this is a rod. I drop the perpendicular. This is the line of action of force. This is the force direction. This is the direction of another force. One force is in this direction, one other is. This is the perpendicular distance. Now if this angle is theta, this angle is theta, I can take sine theta is equal to this perpendicular distance upon hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is given as L. The hypotenuse given is L. So, let us name this as point A, B and C. So, sine theta can be written as, if I take this as theta, it is BC upon AB. So, BC is equal to L sine theta. Now, the magnitude of either force, that is Q into E. So, tau is equal to QE. And what is the perpendicular distance? L sine theta. So, this is question number 7, having the option QEL sine theta, that is option number A. So this is the 7th question. I have written all the formula because all the MCQs are related to this theory only. Now, question number 8. When the rod is released, it will rotate with an angular frequency omega equals to. Now you have to find out omega. So omega we have defined. Now here in the option, instead of I, they have written the moment of inertia value. So I explained earlier, if this is a d distance, this is a d distance, the moment of inertia is md square plus md square. But here the rod is of length L. So the moment of inertia can be found. This is the axis of rotation, this is a perpendicular axis. So it becomes L by 2, this becomes L by 2. So moment of inertia can be written as I is equal to m, that is a perpendicular distance, L by 2 whole square plus m, L by 2 whole square, that is equal to ml square by 4 plus ml square by 4. So it becomes 1 by 4, 1 by 4 is half. So this is the moment of inertia. Now we have to simply substitute in question number 8, we have to find out omega. So omega can be written as under root dipole moment. So dipole moment is Q into the distance between the two charges. So I write Q L E, and in the place of moment of inertia I write ml square 2. So omega naught, yeah, omega is under root 2 QE, 1L is cancelled, under root 2 QE ml. So here you have to, in these questions they have given the moment of inertia. So that is under root 2 QE upon ml, that is for question 8 the option is B. This is question number 7. Now third is find the time period. So time period again I have written here. Simply substitute the values. So T is equal to 2 pi under root I again I write ml square by 2. Then P can be written as QLE. So again 1L is cancelled. So under root ml upon twice QE. So ml upon twice QE. Outside we have a 2 pi. So this is question number 9, having option A. So if we remember this theory, if you remember this formula, then you simply substitute the values. Then the last question is, what is the minimum time taken by the rod to align itself parallel to the electric field after it is set free? So we have to find out the minimum time when the rod aligned in the direction of the field. Now minimum time, suppose the dipole was aligned in the direction of the field. when I made an angle theta, so this is 1/4 rotation, this is another 1/4, that is half, 3/4 and 4/4, that is 1. So it has completed one oscillation. Now the minimum time should be T by 4, because if capital T is a periodic time, periodic time means time taken to complete one oscillation. So minimum time when it get aligned for a first time, so minimum time should be equal to, what should be the minimum time? So T minimum is capital T by 4. So we divide this time period, that is question number 9, by 4. So it will be equal to pi by 2. I divide this by 4. The value in under root remain same. So the minimum time is pi by 2 under root ml 2QE. That is again question number 10, and the option is A. So this is all about the extra theory related to a dipoles. You have to remember angular frequency, periodic time, and the frequency, and moment of inertia. You apply the perpendicular theorem of the moment of inertia. So this is the 10 MCQ related to level 2. We will continue in the next lecture. Also, you can download this question from the description of the video. Have a nice day.